There's a reason why I don't debate or even have conversations with evangelical Christians. And even though I will allow them to, sort of preach at me momentarily, I'll let them talk for, maybe I could tolerate up to 10, 15 minutes before I interrupt them. But the reason why I don't engage with specifically with evangelicals about their religious beliefs is because they are incapable of being fundamentally honest about the Bible, which their faith is based on. And that is not to say that they are dishonest in their nature, because I know that in a lot of other areas of their lives, they are very honest people, typically, as on average, as honest as anyone else. But when it comes to the Bible, because of the level, and maybe even depending on the level of indoctrination that they've had, I'll say they struggle with, or even in some cases lack the capability of being honest about what the Bible obviously says. And to prove this point, I want to just give a quick illustration of how this is done, how the point is proven. When we look up into the night sky, if it's a clear night and we can see what is up there, what is it that we are actually observing? Well, of course, we can observe the planets of our solar system, some of them. My favorite is seeing Jupiter, but I've seen Saturn through a telescope, I've seen Mars, I've seen Venus. But we see, otherwise, we're looking at stars within the Milky Way galaxy. Not sure if we can actually see outside of our galaxy with the naked eye, so to speak, but I know that we can see the stars of our galaxy. So the question becomes, well, what is a star? A star is, what is our closest star? Our closest star is our sun. The stars in the sky are suns with their own individual solar systems, and that is what we're looking at. Now, my second question, or obvious point, is how big is a sun? Well, there are various sizes, right? How big is our sun? Our sun is approximately 1 million times larger than our planet, meaning that we could actually fit, as these estimates go, about 1 million Earths inside the sun. So if our sun, if it came into proximity to our planet would be, not instantaneously vaporized, but if you could just somehow push our planet directly near the sun before it even reached the sun, it would be completely evaporated. And so the suns that we see in the night sky our sun is a relatively, modestly sized sun. There's others that are much, much larger. And that would mean billions of our planet, of Earths, could fit inside those suns. If you take Betelgeuse or some other sun like that. So I'm talking about why evangelical Christians can't be honest with their Bible. In the New Testament, in two of the Gospels, as well as in the book of Revelation, in the two Gospels, Jesus is describing the end times. In in those passages that Christians, evangelical Christians, believe to be literal passages. In other words, there's going to be wars and rumors of wars and famines and earthquake and et cetera, et cetera. One of the things that Jesus says, albeit ignorantly, of even of the solar system, is he says that the earth or the moon is going to turn blood red, and that the stars of the heavens are going to fall down to the earth. Now we know that that is an absolute impossibility. But for an evangelical, they can't admit that fact, that the Bible got something wrong. The alleged creator of the universe made an infactual statement, an incorrect statement about the very nature of the universe itself, because stars cannot fall to the earth. And so that leads, because of the cognitive dissonance that's involved in that, that leads Christians to do what I call excuse begging. Well, you're not interpreting it right, or maybe God meant it metaphorically, even though when you read the context, it's very clear that Jesus meant that this was going to happen quite literally. And so, but they devolve into this excuse begging because they cannot conceive of the idea that the Bible has a factual error in it. So that's just one example. There are many, many other examples. When we're talking about, does the Bible endorse slavery? Is the earth 6,000 years old? Whatever, the multiple contradictions and misstatements that are in the Bible, the immorality of the Bible itself is just horrific. And, typically evangelicals will say, well, you can't hold God to human standards. Well, that's completely untrue, because God is going to hold me to his standards. So I better damn well understand what his standards are, and his standards are grotesque. Anyway, that's a different subject line. But the excuse begging that evangelical Christians do is just, it's really pathetic, and it's sad, and it represents a level of science denialism, education denialism, and reality denialism. So that's why I don't engage with evangelicals, because fundamentally they can't be honest about the book that they believe is the inerrant Word of God. So anyhow, take it for what you will.